Good morning. How are you today? It is Omnipotent Tuesday. Glad you can join me for a few minutes, and I will share once again some of my work with you, and I will bring a message of hope to you and a short presentation this morning. So, when we talk about the hope formula and we talk about omnipotence, we're talking about our godlike power, right? Omnipotent is godlike power. And from time to time, my camera is going to focus in on my book, which is pretty good. I didn't ask it to do that, but it's going to do it, so that's really cool. So, godlike power. So, if you believe in God, as I do, that we were created in the image of God, and however you want to coin the phrase creator, God, universe, eternal creator, however you phrase it, I have come to believe through my years of experience and study and being touched, I have come to believe that we are created and that God created us in his/her image, because I believe God is also androgynous, therefore his or her and her. As it says in the Bible, we shall create them in our own image. So, in order for us to be more in the like image of God, God created us in his design. I will use the word his because that is traditionally what God is referred to as he. God created us in his image and granted us in our design with power to create magnificent things. And so today I want you to, like I have always said and I will continue to say, challenge what I say, challenge your belief system, and do your own research. Take the time to read, study, and come to your own conclusions. So today, one of the things I'd like to do, as you're reading the book, Hope, Your Essence Navigation System, and working in the workbook to develop your plan and to do your exercises, I want to give you some of the references that I have used over the years and some of the most recent readings that I've been doing to help me to continue in my growth path. Among those are, and I'll read a list to you. One of the ones that I've really loved to read are the works by my mom, Male and Female by Barbara Mabe, The God Code by Greg Braden, Fractal Time by Braden, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, The Guild of Psi by Eric Pepin, Novutech Package of Inside Secrets by Hamilton, Alexander, Savage, and Wallace, The Quantum Field by Ford, Walking the Immortal Within by Pepin, of course the Bible, both the Old and the New Testament, Leading Change by Cotter, and Under God by Toby Mac and Michael Tate. The last one, Under God, with Toby Mac and Michael Tate, has been an important read for me because it talks about the amazing black and African people who were brought to this country and their struggles to become Americans in their own right throughout the history of our country. It's a very good read. It's a very important read, especially for European ancestry people like myself. And though I don't hold myself responsible personally or through my people that came over here, my family came to America in the 40s, 30s and 40s. They weren't here in the time of the first movement to America and the atrocities that the Europeans did to the Indians and Africans in our stay here. They came over here later, but still, it does talk about the European awful things they did to both the red man and the black man. So anyway, it's a great book. So those are a few of the reads that I have studied over time, and even one that I'm holding in my hand now. It's called the Apocrypha, translated by Edgar J. Goodspeed, with an introduction by Moses Hadas. The Nag Hammadi, I've been studying that almost as much as, or actually in lieu of the Bible these days, I read the Nag Hammadi regularly. So those are some of the things that I have been reading and studying, and I urge you to write those down. If you'd like me to read them again, I can. I really strongly urge you to read everything by Greg Braden. The Spontaneous Healing of Belief is one by Greg that I didn't list before. Just look up Greg Braden, Braden, and get his books. He's written quite a few. And also Paul Lipton is another one. Just look up Lipton, Lipton. Eckhart Tolle really talks about how living in the now is important and getting rid of your ego. The Novu Tech package of Inside Secrets you can acquire through me or through someone that I know. Those are books that you usually have to be a member of a certain society to be able to get packages of those. They're very valuable. They taught me things that I never thought possible until I got those packages and read them. The Quantum Field by Ford. Eric Pepin is a great psychic type person who is very in tune with the matrix and the ether field that is our universe, and has taught me and others to tap into the field of knowledge that is out there when we meditate and connect with God through our affirmations. Cotter, Leading Change. That's actually a modern day book about how to lead change in organizations, but it is very valuable in terms of helping to come to a mindset that can help us to create our mindset for breaking down paradigms and moving into a world of change, which is something that we're all experiencing right now, especially with this time of with this pandemic. We have to learn to change and how to learn to grow with change in our organizations and so forth. And then the Under God book that I already referenced. And of course, there's my book. My book is the Hope Navigation System, available through my nonprofit, livinghopeinstitute.org. You can go on that website, livinghopeinstitute.org, click on the donate page, and just browse around the donate page there, and you can see several things there. There's the book and workbook set that you can get for $24.95, or individually you can get them by themselves if you want. But I do urge you to get the workbook package together. There's a very reasonable price for that. Some people think I don't charge enough for it, but I feel like to get it to you is in the most reasonable price possible, and still be able to use those funds to put into the treasury of the Hope Institute is the best way for me to do this with the books. I offer workshops. They're $100, and that'll give you 5 sessions with me doing workshops through the Hope Formula. And then there's the Life Destiny Chart, which is based on numerology, which I practice as well. Based on your date of birth and your birth name, I can talk to you about where you've been, where you are, and where you're going over 80 years of your life. I found it to be very helpful, especially when I discovered how important that was when I had my first contact with God through my meditation and doing my numerology chart and that kind of thing. So that's a very important piece. You can find that on there. That's also available on the specials page on there through my coaching part of the website. Go click on specials or donate and you get it there. Also on livinghopeinstitute.org, while I'm on that subject real quick, you can also just donate. You can go on there and subscribe to the website where I've got newsletters, I've got videos on there for people who subscribe to the website. and I've also there's also a way just to donate. So you have to, when you go on the donate page, after you've discovered my page and gone through it and looked at it and explored on it, you can just go to the donate page, and there's just multiple ways of donating on there. Coming soon there's going to be a way for you to get other things like jewelry and things like that. That there's certain people are going to be producing and putting on there. So anyway, that's my discussion on the website, livinghopeinstitute.org. That is the foundational place for us to gather. I've just started the Patreon page where I'm going to start doing hopefully real soon, some live podcasts. There's some friends of mine who are waiting patiently for me to start doing that. I've got to continue to learn it first before I can do it the way I want to do it. So that's going to be a pay for kind of patron thing. It's very cheap. It's like $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, depending on what level of membership you want to do to be a patron. But understand the reason that I'm doing that. I'm doing that in order to be able to get donations and funds together to actually build the first institute. That's what this is all about now. It's about doing what I do with Honesty Navigation System book and workbook. That's what my message is, and it's also my project is to build that first institute, to get that thing off the ground, to get that model in place, to do that work, to show how it works and bring it to life so that we can help as many people as possible to avoid homelessness, to become self-sustaining and that kind of thing. So to wrap up this morning, because we all have to go to work, I know that we're working from home and stuff like that, but to wrap up Omnipotence today, I would like to read a little bit from The God Code, The Secret of Our Past, The Promise of Our Future. This is by Greg Braden. I urge you, honestly, this is proof that we were created in the image of our Creator. The God Code by Greg Braden. When I read this, I was stunned. The Torah has the proof. That's all I'm going to say right now. You need to get this book, you need to read it, but I'm going to read a little bit from you. From chapter 8, what have we learned surviving our future through the lessons of our past? With the recent turn of the century, celebrations still fresh in our minds, many scientists, organizations, concerned individuals are now asking the single question upon which so many other questions hinge. Will we survive as a species for another 100 years? Specifically, will we survive another century of genetically modifying our foods and enhancing our bodies and creating industries that deplete the life from our oceans, rivers, and forests? Perhaps most important is whether or not we dare to continue unleashing the awesome power of nature as the most lethal weapon known in history of mankind. This is important as we're sitting here in our homes under lockdown during this pandemic, don't you think? Until the mid-20th century, it made little sense to ask such questions. Today, that's changed. As a result of scientific innovations developed during World War II, including those of quantum physics, genetics, and miniaturized electronics, our technological choices now carry consequences that will last for hundreds of years and many subsequent generations. The lingering question for our future is less about developing the technologies themselves than to the wisdom of implementing them in our lives. Just because we have the ability to modify the weather patterns over vast regions of the earth and create new forms of life, for instance, do we have the right to do such things? I'm going to leave it there for now. But these are the questions that we have to ask. Playing God, what gives us the right? Even though we're God-man, do we have the right? From ignorance to intention, finding our way from the brink of destruction. That's one of the headings. A world still at war. I think there's no question that we're a world still at war. Would you agree? Lessons from our past. In what has been called the national epic of India, as well as the Hindu Bible, the Mahabharata is a literary work unparalleled in terms of the length and breadth of its topic. It may also be the most detailed description of a war using technology so advanced with the consequences so devastating that to accept the story as a record of historic fact is almost unthinkable. Although the ancient account describes survivors of the last battle in the war. There was no real victory. The price paid by the warring societies in the Mahabharata resulted in a destruction of biblical proportions, including the loss of countless numbers of lives, the inability of the land to grow food, and the destruction of the advanced civilization that predates history. The story was originally recorded in the ancient language of Sanskrit between 2,500 and 3,000 years ago. Containing approximately 10,000 verses, the central theme of the epic describes a struggle between two kings, King Pandu and King, I'm sorry if I can't pronounce some of this stuff correctly. I'm going to say it's Dhritarashtra, ending in the great battle that may have taken place as long ago as 8,000 to 10,000 years ago, well before traditional history suggests that great civilizations and sophisticated technology existed. Interestingly, the last battle described in Mahabharata also marked the end of the last cycle in the Hindu cosmology. The Dvapara Yuga and the beginning of the last age of the world. We live in that age today, the time of the Kali Yuga. It is a description of the weapons and tactics of warfare in the Indian epic that has captured the interest of historians and generals in times past. The same descriptions are now drawing the attention of scientists and researchers. Unfolding on the plains near what is now Delhi, India, the Mahabharata verses detail the use of a weapon that results in the utter destruction of vast expanses of earth and the life in those areas. As the mysterious weapon is introduced and discharged in battle, it is described as an unknown weapon, the Iron Thunderbolt, a single projectile charged with all the power of the universe. The impact resulted in the incandescent column of smoke and fire as brilliant as 10,000 suns. Does that sound like anything we know? The verse is going to describe the utter and complete devastation the weapon leaves in its wake. The earth shook, scorched by the terrible heat of this weapon. Elephants burst into flames. Over a vast area, other animals crumbled to the ground and died. The waters boiled, and the creatures residing therein also died. In the final events of the battle, the text describes the horrible fate of humans caught in the path of such destruction. The corpses were so burnt that they were no longer recognizable. Hair and nails fell out. Additional details described how pottery broke without cause. Birds disturbed circled in the air and were turned white. Does that sound eerily significant to today? But even more so, folks, the reason that I wanted to bring this to your attention is history repeats. We are living in a time right now when learning the lessons of our past are so much more important. And the omnipotence with which we live is so crucial for us to understand that we were granted the power of creation to do what he did, to do what he could do, as Jesus told us. He was not speaking metaphorically when he was speaking of the power of man. We have destroyed ourselves more times than not. We are on the brink once again. This pandemic should be teaching us something about our godlike power to do great things or to do great destruction. So, as you are experiencing your hope formula, as you are doing your honesty assessments, and as you are starting to understand the great power with which you have in your hands, your mind, and your heart, think about the great responsibility that comes with your omnipotence. That's all I have today, but just as you sit at home now and you are going through your process with the hope formula, please take into consideration what the most great gift you have been granted and the great responsibility that comes with that gift. Do not misuse it. Begin to use it responsibly and know the accountability that we will feel if we use it irresponsibly, and if we allow such things to be released upon us after we have modified things, as we have worked with genetic coding, as we work with viruses, we can pay a heavy price for being ignorant of the responsibility and accountability that comes with being God. You know, do we have the right to play God? No, we are God, man. in the fact that we were granted power and dominion over our planet to take care of our planet and to take care of ourselves and our tribe, if you will, of humanity, we have a certain responsibility. And we also have a certain accountability upon us that will be brought upon us through the natural universal laws that we live within. That when we tempt those things, when we malign those things, when we design those things to be mutations of what they should be, we pay heavy prices. No doubt about it. I think that we can all agree to that now. I think that we've proven that over and over again. The lessons that we were supposed to be learning, we seem to have a problem growing from. So that's one of the reasons I want to build the Hope Institute. It is my hope that at the Hope Institute, teaching and learning these things and actually going through these books and these journals and things that we know are there, that we can be self-sustaining, that we can be living with using our omnipotence the way that we're supposed to be using them, and that we do not blow ourselves up, that we do not destroy ourselves, that we do not malign our natural being as humans, and that we continue to evolve as we should as loving, pure love, omnipotent beings created in the image of our Creator. I love you. Have a great week. And I'll talk to you tomorrow about pure love. Thank you. Have a great day. Again, have a great day. Love you. Hope. And livinghopeinstitute.org. Go there, check it out. Bye-bye.